Alright, and welcome back to Copilot. If it's your first time with us, then welcome for the first time. Alright, just a quick recap before we get started. This is part 4 of 4 in a 4-part series of our flight from Toronto Pearson International down to Tampa International down in Florida. Alright, in part 1 we went over the flight planning phase, how I create my flight plans, how I get my flight plans into the aircraft, all that good stuff. The tools I used, we covered all in part 1. In part 2, we focused on the FMC, getting our flight plan into the FMC, programming and setting up the FMC for our flight. In part 3 we focused on the departure. We finished setting up our aircraft, got the engine started, taxied our way out to runway 23, and we did our takeoff and departure. And I showed you exactly how I used the FMC and the autopilot to do that. Right now we're in the cruise phase of our trip, and brought you back just a little bit early because it looks like things could get a little interesting in Florida, so I brought you back just a little before our top of descent, so it gives me a chance to get you briefed up to what's going on here. Alright, so let's get back with part 4, the arrival and approach, landing, Tampa International. Alright, as you can see, we're in cruise flight, pretty much where I left you at the end of part 3, except a lot closer to Tampa. And if we look down at our FMC, we can see we're 182 nautical miles from our top of descent, which is good. It gives me a little chance to get you briefed up on our arrival and approach. So give me a chance and we'll bring Navigraph back up here, and you can see our Navigraph charts here, and you can see us on our flight plan. And as you can see ahead of us, there's a lot of weather below us and up ahead. And if you look over on the left hand side here, it's showing conditions in Tampa International as IFR, and the radar map is confirming that. So it looks like we're going to have some interesting weather on our approach to Tampa. So we'll go and bring up our arrivals. This is our arrivals page. We're coming up here at the top left here where it says Banff. That's where we're entering that's the transition we're using, where we're going to enter the dates 1 approach to our runway, and this is our arrival right here. So we're going to intercept our arrival at the Banff transition, and we'll be starting our top of descent right around shortly after we cross over Banff. We want to be down 210 knots at 5,000 by the time we get to Borst. So that's our arrival, and we're going to be coming in right here. ILS runway 1 left. Here's our charts for runway 1 left. So we want to intercept our glide slope at 2,600 feet at Lago. So we'll make sure we're at 2,600 feet by the time we get to Lago. Since we're not using ATC for this flight, we're going to go ahead, and once we start our descent, we're going to descend and bring it right down to the deck to 2,600 and connect our arrivals with our approach, and then we'll intercept the glide slope. And since it looks like we got some not so great weather in Tampa, IFR conditions, I thought this would be a good chance to practice using our auto land system. I don't use the auto land very often. I usually just come in on a normal ILS approach and yeah, somewhere along the approach I usually disengage the autopilot and just fly it in manually. So this would be good practice. I don't use the auto land very often, so I hope I don't bungle it up, because I almost never use it. So we'll give this a shot going into some looks like funky weather ahead of us, and we're gonna have some icing probably on the descent, so we should prepare and be ready for that. And that's gonna be our approach. And if we look out our windshield, we can see that the view outside our windshield is kind of matching up with the view we're seeing on the radar on Navigraph. Looks like we're heading to a lot of overcast there. So yeah, it was clear behind us, and it looks like pretty clouded over in front of us. So the trip here wasn't too bad. The average winds across the Appalachian Mountains there was about 97, 98 knots from the west. So it wasn't that bad. I thought it would be stronger. I thought we were going to get like 125, somewhere around there, but we got 90s. That's not bad. So we're getting ready to make our descent. Now, if you watched in part 2 where I set up the FMC, you would have saw that everything is programmed into the FMC. So the aircraft is going to fly its LNAV and VPath, and it's going to fly to the top of descent, which will be coming up shortly. Now, in order for the aircraft to just start descending when we get to our top of descent, I have to give it permission to do that. Normally you would do this under ATC vectors. You would follow your descent profile and stuff would be according to ATC, but since we're not using ATC today, we're going to bring it right down to our approach. So we'll go ahead and do that now, so by the time we get there we're good and haven't forgotten about it. Okay, so to give it permission to descend, we go up to the MCP, and we do that via our altitude selector, and we're going to bring that right down to 2,600 feet. Now again, if I was flying with ATC or on VATSIM, I would never do that. My descent would be coordinated with ATC. But for today's purposes, we're going to bring it right down to 2,600 feet. And since we got some time, we might as well go in and set up our ILS information in our nav radios. So if you go down to your FMC and you hit your init ref button, it'll bring you up to your approach reference page, at which time we're going to set up our approach reference. We're going to pick flaps 40 degrees, and we're going to be coming in at 126 knots. I'll probably allow a little more airspeed for wind, probably 5 knots like it says on the bottom. So we'll enter that here, so that it'll give us a reference on our PFD now by our speed bug. Okay, and if you look over on the left side, it's giving us all our runway ILS information here. It's giving us our runway length, our ILS frequencies, and our course, our runway heading. Okay, so our ILS frequency is 108.90, so we go down to our radios and we'll enter that 108.90. Switch that over. One 108.90, and we'll put that in the active. Okay, our ILS is set up in our nav radios. Right here in the center, this is we would set this up if we were using our heads-up display. I'll do a separate video on one time on shooting an approach and arrival and approach using the HUD, so we're not going to set that up today. So we'll come back up to the MCP and we'll set our course, and our runway heading is 007. 007. 007. Okay, so we got all that, so we're ready to intercept our ILS. Now if you look on my navigation display, you can see that we're approaching one of the fixes that I have set up, which is our transition to our arrival. That would be the Banff transition there, and we could see it up here. We're 44.7 or 0.9 or whatever, 44 miles, 43 miles inbound to the Banff transition. Our top of descent is going to be shortly after that. You can see how this increases my situational awareness. It gives me a visual cue that I'm approaching my my arrival and descent, so I can immediately see that because of the green 10-mile radius ring I put around Banff. So we'll continue on. We have our ILS approach stuff all set up, and we're good. We're ready for our descent, which is coming in. Go back to our cruise page. This is good too because it's showing us we're going to have 6,000 pounds of fuel, 6,800 pounds of fuel when we arrive at Tampa. So that's because we have a little extra there if we're to go to our alternate, which is Miami, and plus I put in for a 2,000 pound reserve. And we have 106 nautical miles to our top of descent. Actual winds are 253 at 65 knots. So yeah, the winds are much better than I thought they were going to be. Usually during the cruise phase, I use my Tobii eye tracker. Turn that on right there. Lets me look around at what's going on and stuff. And you know, I can look around the cockpit and my stuff. Yeah, I like the Tobii. It works great. Yeah, but in the airliners, it's hit and miss sometimes when you're setting up stuff and you're hitting a lot of switches and buttons and adjusting this and that, so I don't use it much in those instances. Just in taxiing and sometimes in cruise like this, I'll turn on the Tobii eye tracker so I don't have to keep scrolling my mouse around to look around. Yeah, and there's that heads-up display. Yeah, we'll definitely do a video. That's a nice piece of kit, so we'll definitely do a video on how to use that, or how I use it anyways. So approaching our adjust our screen. And once we start our descent, I'll start our descent checks and whatnot. Yeah, it looking a little gnarly down there. I'm not seeing too many holes down there. Let's jump to the outside view and take a peek around, see what we got going on here. Alright. Tobii eye tracker works on the outside. Yeah, that looks a little gnarly right there, looking a little dark and angry. We can see we're leaving the clear stuff behind us, and yeah, we're heading into the soup, as they would say. So, okay, this should be interesting. Alright, give you a quick look back at our navigraph here. And if you can see, our landing shouldn't be too bad. The winds on landing are not too bad. A 3-knot crosswind with a 5-knot headwind component, so that's not too bad. Should be manageable. The autopilot should be able to fare with that fairly easy. Let's see our icing situation. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of icing below us in those clouds, as we can clearly see. It's pretty moderate. Almost pushing into a little bit severe in some areas. So yeah, we'll be turning on our wing anti-ice. We got our engine anti-ice on now, but we'll be turning our wing anti-ice on for our descent. By the time we're descending into Tampa, the icing looks like it's getting a little better. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so now, yeah, this shows you why I love Navigraph so much. Like, this is fantastic, you know, situational awareness, and look at all the stuff it's given me. You know, our wind barbs, we can throw those onto our weather chart. You know, our wind's going to turn into, you know, a headwind. You know, it's great. I love it. So, yeah, Navigraph charts. And you can see over here on the left, it's showing Tampa, and Tampa is IFR. So, and it's showing us our approach. So, yeah, that's why I use Navigraph. And then on the bottom is all my charts. Here's my airport information. I could overlay this. I can overlay the approach in and literally read the approach chart while I'm watching my aircraft fly it. Yeah, Navigraph all day, every day. Alright, put that back over on the other screen. And yeah, those clouds are reaching up, trying to grab us. We haven't even started our descent yet. So our top of descent is in 71 miles. Get our heading bug cleaned up here. Yeah, it's always good to keep your heading bug on track to in the direction you're heading. Especially when you're dealing with ATC or whatnot. You never know when something goes wonky, man. And I'm telling you, I've been on many a routine flights where something went wonky in my FMC setup or something, and the aircraft's not doing what I want it to do or what I'm expecting it to do, and I have to switch to heading select. And yeah, it's good to have your heading bug where you need it if you need it, so we could deal with the situation. But so far for this flight, everything's calm, normal, and going as planned. So that's why it's important to use your checklists so you don't miss anything. Yeah, those clouds are right up to our level, cruise level now. So we saw that there was icing, so we'll go up to our overhead. And we'll throw on our wing anti-ice. It'll run through a cycle, and we'll keep an eye on our windshield here, see if we're starting to pick up some ice. Our outside air temperature is minus 27 degrees Celsius. It's pretty cold. Usually when it's that cold, you're not going to pick up too much icing usually. But famous last words, right? So here we go, flying into those clouds. Our icing's on 54 nautical miles. We should see our top of a descent starting to come into view shortly here. And if you want to see exactly what we're dealing with in Tampa, we can bring up our sim brief. We'll open that up. We'll go to weather and NOTAMs. We'll enter KTPA and search. And here we got all our information. We got our ATIS, we got our VATSIM ATIS, we got our real world ATIS, we got our terminal area forecasts. See what we're dealing. Yeah, we got some like low clouds here, possible rain, broken at 800 feet, temporarily broken. Yeah, so a cloud gets really low visibility, then it becomes from 3,500 broken, scattered at 1,000. Yeah, so we got some very low clouds here. Losing my voice. Very low clouds here, showers, broken. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be low vis all the way to the air, all the way to the runway. And they are in fact approaching and departing. Runway 1 left. Okay. So that's it. We can get that out of the way. Just wanted to show you that. SimBrief, NaviGraph. If you're looking for navigational tools, do yourself a favor. Right there, the two of those together, and yeah, you don't need anything else. Alright, 42 nautical miles to our top of descent. And if you look on our heading ribbon here, or our speed ribbon here, you'll see that where I entered that VREF for our landing speed, you can see it's put it in here. So even when I go to slow down the aircraft, I'm still not touching any of the speed stuff on the autopilot. I have that all programmed. Once I'm approaching to start my turn to make our approach, and I start to lower my flaps, our speed will automatically, the speed bug will automatically drop down to our whatever flap setting speed we set our flaps at. So when I set flap 1, my speed bug will drop down to flap 1 speed, and my speed will automatically start decreasing to flap 1 speed. It's the advantages of using the FMC and letting that FMC be the co-pilot that you don't have, that you should have but don't have. Bring our NaviGraph back up here, and I'll show you something else here. We'll get a closer look at our approach, and if you can see, this arrival is pretty much like flying the pattern in general aviation. We're coming in here. You can see our dates 1 arrival here. The green is our arrival. It's just like flying into the downwind of a normal circuit. So we're going to be flying into the downwind for runway 1 left, ILS runway 1 left. And up at Justin, up here, we're going to be making a right base turn for Lago and ILS runway 1 left. So I just wanted to give you a look at that, give you an idea what our arrival actually looks like. Excuse me, I am seriously losing my voice, folks. Okay, and if we look up, we can see we are exactly 20 nautical miles from our top of descent. We can see it in green displayed right there on our top of descent. And because we've adjusted our autopilot, and it now has permission to start its descent. So it should start descending when it reaches that top of descent. We'll be keeping an eye out for that. At which point we should see the autopilot over here where it says FMC speed. It should go into retard and start retarding our engines for the descent. It'll probably eventually switch over to telling us to arm our spoilers. The 737-700 is a little slippy on its descent, and you really have to manage that descent profile using your spoilers to let that speed not get out of hand on you. Keep you on that descent profile. When we reach our top of descent and we start our descent, on the bottom right hand corner of my navigation screen, you'll see my descent profile activate and pop up. You'll see it pop up there. You can also track your descent profile right here where you would normally track your glide slope. So yeah, let's do it, folks. We'll try out this auto land system in the PMDG 737-700. See how good this thing does. Just scanning my instruments, making sure everything is the way it should be. Let's bring our heading bug back over. Now here on my FMC, all these pages are switching automatically. From takeoff it went to climb, and from climb it switched over to cruise when we reached cruise, and when we start our descent it will automatically switch to our descent page, which is in right now. So let's come back up, and sure enough our vertical speed indicator is active. The aircraft is descending. We'll check up here. We are in retard, so our airspeed is being maintained. If we look on our navigation screen, our descent profile, we can see our descent profile is active, and we can see it on our PFD. And there it goes. The arm just lit up. It's telling me to arm my spoilers, so we'll go ahead and do that. And there we go. Spoilers armed, confirmed by the green light. And we're gonna descend down into that suit. Still don't see no ice on the wind screen, so that's pretty good. We haven't picked it, or not, don't seem to be picking up any ice. But usually when it's in the high minus 27 and minus 30, usually the water particles are frozen and you don't pick up much ice. we'll probably pick up some ice on our descent here. And our anti-ice equipment is on. Let's check our cabin temp is good. Our cabin pressure is descending, and we can see it is coming down. So our cabin pressure is good. All systems look good. I don't know why that suspicious connection blocked by Bitdefender keeps popping up. Anyways, we'll go check that later. Okay, we can go over and do our descent checks. Alright, descent checks. Go back to our landing, our checklist. I'll try to leave a download for that in the description for you to download a copy of this checklist if you want it. Landing lights on. Check. Seatbelt signs on. Check. Air conditioning pressure checked. Checked. I just checked that. Engine wing anti-ice as required. Check. Transition altitude local QNH, check. ATIS obtain, we've done that. There's that multiples. I'm gonna have to check that. Okay. Where was I? Transition altitude, check. ATIS obtain, we did that. Check. Engine start switches, continuous. Check. FMC set arrival approach, check. And yeah, it's looking pretty gnarly down there. Come back, look at the windscreen, and yeah, you can see some pretty dark, angry looking clouds. So we'll continue our descent, and if we check our descent profile, we're right on the money. We're right on our descent profile. So we're right where we need to be. At 18,000 feet, we'll switch our altimeter back over to our altimeter and set it for our local area altimeter. There's FS Realistic. Just pop that up for you guys. You can get a quick look at that. Just wanted to shut this cabin ambience off, and we'll get rid of that. We don't have passengers. We're in a freighter. We don't even have a co-pilot. I'm co-pilot. Oh yeah, that weather looks very interesting down there. Very, very interesting. Okay, now if you notice our descent profile, our speed. Our speed is a little bit fast here. I told you it's a little slippery, so you got to bring it into that second notch on the arm, where your arm, and yeah, we'll go bring it back into profile, and you can see starting to right away. You can hear our spoilers, but you can see that we're getting back on profile here. So we really want to keep an eye on that descent profile. both sides and make sure this stays right in the middle, and that, you know, keeping you on your profile. So we're following our approach procedures, and we're where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. Alright, well, we'll continue our descent. Not sure it's too thick though. I think I can see a little bit. I'm not sure, maybe not. I think it's just a reflection of some dirt on my on my window there. I thought I saw a little hole looking through there, and it might not be too thick. And but yeah, that looks pretty. Doesn't look broken to me. It looks pretty pretty overcast. So it looks like a hard cloud deck. But fear not, we're FedEx, and the parcels need to be delivered, right? So we're gonna get it there. Okay, now if you look on my navigation display, you can see the fixed radius rings that I put around Tampa starting to come into view. You can see how it's just giving me totally a situational awareness. I know the airport's coming before I even see it on the display. Okay, we're crossing through 18,000. We'll put our altimeter over to altimeter and set our altimeter. Okay, we're on the local area altimeter. We'll continue our descent into this angry looking cloud deck. Still no ice, so that's a good thing. Our temperature's above 0 now. I think it's above 0. Yeah, we're at +8. So yeah, we probably won't be picking up any ice, which is good. We made it through our icing. +8, +9, we can go ahead, go up here and turn our icing stuff off, because we know our temp's only going to rise from here. So good, we avoided the first potential problem. The winds weren't too bad. We thought they might be worse than they were. The icing was non-existent, so that's better than we thought it might be. And yeah, but the overcast clouds look like they're a sure thing. So we're gonna be descending into the clouds. Alright, crossing through 14,900. Make our turn where we'll intercept our downwind leg. Under normal clear conditions, we would clearly be able to see Tampa International from here, but not today. The clouds are not on our side today for that. Gotta admit, it looks cool though. And yeah, for those who are interested on what kind of system I'm running this all on, I'll leave my system specs in the description below. It's not the most powerful computer in the world, but it does pretty good. It does pretty good. I'll leave the specs in the description below. My clouds are set to ultra. I think everything else is set to high. Yeah, it's not much difference between ultra and high, but yeah, been, you know, just experimenting with the settings, and I just find that, you know, it recommended ultra for everything for me, but yeah, that never works out the way it's supposed to. So yeah, everything's set on high. My clouds are volumetric clouds are definitely set on ultra. And yeah, this is what we're getting. I don't know what the frame rate, I don't have it in dev mode right now, so I can't bring up my my frame rates. If I still had it in dev mode, I'd be able to bring up my frame rates. We could have checked that. But I'm going to be in the, probably going into these angry clouds and stuff, probably in the low to mid 40s frames per second. I have my monitor's refresh rate locked in at 60 frames per second, so my frame rate never goes above 60. On clear days and stuff, I'm pretty much locked in at mid 50s to high 50s on the inside cockpit view, and then outside views are just solid 60 frames per second. So if you're wondering how I do all that, then I'll leave the description I'll leave it in the descriptions. We just extended into that black mass. We're on our downwind, so we'll go ahead and do our approach checks. Landing lights on, check. Auto brakes set to reject takeoff, check. Decision height, gotta set that. Our decision height is 155 feet. Wish I had a knob for this. There we go. Decision height set to radio. Set. Check. Master caution recall checked and clear. MCP missed approach altitude set. Check. Speed brake arm check. Flap set. Check. Landing gears, we'll put that down, and we can go ahead and throw on our taxi lights. It's dark, and we'll go ahead and throw our taxi and runway turn off lights on. Yeah, it got dark inside these clouds. Winds aren't too bad. Don't seem like we're bouncing too bad, so let's go back up here and shut off our overhead dome light. Okay, we're ready. Our airspeed is decreasing now. We're just a little off our descent profile, nothing too serious though, that's not too bad. Our speed's not too way off. Remember, we need 210 knots at 5,000 feet at worst. So our speed is dropping down to 210 as we speak. And we're approaching 5,000 feet. Which will keep us in compliance with our arrival. And just before we get to our right turn, I'll start introducing some flaps. You can see on the navigation screen here, you know, where we're going to start our turn. You can see our final here. You can see the rings, 5, 10, 15 miles. So just one look at that screen just gives me an instant reference of how far I am. I don't have to try and squint and read anything. It's all right there. Situational awareness and trying to stay ahead of the aircraft is your top priority. I can't begin to tell you how important it is to stay in front of the aircraft, man. Stay ahead of the aircraft. If you're staying ahead of the aircraft, you're going to be in good shape. If you're behind the aircraft, then you're going to be reacting to. Instead of expecting it to do things, you're going to be reacting to when it does things. You don't want to be there. You want to be expecting, not reacting. So stay in front of your aircraft. And doing things like putting in these fixes absolutely helps you do that. So we're level at 5,000 feet. Prior to starting our descent for, and the FNC is doing it all. It's flying this, totally flying this approach because we've set it up to do so. You can see I'm not touching anything on the MCP panel. I've already pre-selected it. And when you're flying with ATC, you do that as much as you can. When you're flying with ATC, you can obviously descent, bring your altitude down to 2,600 and stuff. All right, so it looks like, you know, there's some holes. Holes above, no holes below. All right. Alright, we're approximately 15 miles from the field. We're ready to make our turn. Making our turn in 2.8 miles. So I'll go ahead and throw in 1 degree of flaps now and watch my speed bug. Oh, what happened there? 2 degrees of flaps. I'll take that. Don't know what happened there, but if you notice my speed bug, it's dropped down to my flaps 2 setting, speed setting, and our speed is in fact slowing down just as we're entering our turn. Now for the last few knots of our speed, when we're coming into our approach speed, we'll have to set that by way of the MCP. It'll turn that back over to us when we're on short final. Now we're turning to intercept our approach. airspeed is down to 166, 167, and we continue our turn to intercept Lago. And you can see the aircraft has automatically started descending because we need 2,600 feet for Lago, according to our standard instrument arrival and approach. Okay, let's drop our flaps 5. Flaps 5. We'll go ahead and make that flaps 10. Our speed's coming down to our flaps 5, flaps 10 speed. You can see the glide slope is active. Once we turn and line up with the localizer, I'll activate our approach and our second autopilot to engage our auto land, if it works. Hopefully it does. We'll see. A little iffy with the auto land because I don't use it very often. Actually, I think I've only used it once or twice. Pitch black, 0 vis through 3,500. About to make our turn. Starting our turn to final. Once we line up with the localizer, I'll engage. We can see our glide slope is coming. We want to make sure we have the approach engaged before we intercept the glide slope. So there's our localizer, there's our approach, and there's our second autopilot, and looks like we're good. Okay, we got our second channel. We can see the glide slope, waiting for us to intercept the glide slope here. Single channel, we're going to be looking for land 3. There's our glide slope. Gear down, flaps 15. Don't know why my airspeed looks so out of whack. Oh, I turned it back over to me early. Since we're on our glide slope, let's go full flaps. Let's bring our speed down. $129. You can see our speed bug is just above our approach reference. So we look like we're on the glide slope. We're locked on to the localizer. We're good. Can't see the runway, even though it's right in front of us. Didn't expect this. Okay, we're gonna watch for our auto land. We got some rain happening, looks like. Yeah, we got some rain happening here, so we got a wet runway. I'm gonna set my speed brake to RTO. I don't know why I did that. Good thing I saw that. Okay. See what I mean? You gotta check and double check. It's so easy to make mistakes. Don't know what my brain was thinking when I did that. Good thing I double checked it. Okay, our minimums are set. Yeah, I can't believe we still can't see the runway. Oh.
1,000.
A cat just wandered into my cockpit here. Okay, I can see a little something down there, a little ground. Can't see the runway, but I think I see the shore. Okay, we're right on glide slope. Oh, there's our lights. We're good. Got some rain, heavy rain here. Low vis. The wind's fluctuating a little bit. Okay, there's our visual.
500.
Okay, we're off our glide slope. We're chasing our glide slope a little bit. It's not looking too good. I don't know about this auto land. We got our land 3.
300. Approaching minimums. 2.
Continue. Our VASIs are showing us below the glide slope. Our glide slope's showing us below the glide slope. It's not good.
50.
If I clear this, we're gonna hit short.
20.
Yeah, we cleared it. We're good. Disengage our autopilot. Disengage our reverse thrusters. Get our flaps up. Get our speed brake up. Well, that was interesting. I didn't expect the weather to be that bad here. Alright, let's clean up the aircraft. Landing lights off. Turn our strobes off. Start our APU. Auto brake off. And there we go. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our 4-part series to Tampa International. So I'll save you taxiing the taxi in and shut down. I'm pretty sure you can all figure out what that's like. And we're here in Tampa, and I just want to thank you for joining us on our 4-part series, and we'll leave it right there. So until our next video, stay safe, my friends, and we'll see you soon. Later.